Welcome to a new edition of our show titled Speak of Africa. Brothers and sisters, we are happy to share this show with you again today. Welcome to our YouTube channel. If you've not subscribed, please begin by clicking the button to subscribe. When you subscribe, you make sure that you don't miss any of our shows. In fact, we have so many videos. So if you've missed any show in the past, we're asking you to look through the collection of our videos and go back and watch it. That's the beautiful thing with social media. Even if you've missed a show, you can always catch up. For the show of today, we want to look at the main highlights of what is happening in the motherland, Africa. So that's what we do on every week on this show. We choose what is happening. Then we try to make sense out of it. We try to raise your level of perception so that you can grasp what is happening. There's so much news breaking out in the motherland, but some of this news is just entertainment. It's not really important. So those who think, this is the people this show is for. We try to help you to think, to use your brains. If Africa is not getting anywhere, it's because most Africans are not using their brains. So we need to start using our brains to think, to solve our problems. We cannot just sit and wait for the Western world to come and solve our problem for us. In fact, I was watching a video today. It's a video of the Right Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. He's a Nation of Islam leader. And he was just saying the same thing, the same message we've been having on this show every day. Self-reliance. We have to do it for ourselves. Instead of looking at ourselves as victims of circumstances, we have to look at ourselves as architects of our own destiny. We have to be in control. We cannot just be puppets of fate. We have to control our own fate. Africa is where it is today. We are beggars. We are beggars, which is why the Western world is not respecting us. Our leaders behave like beggars. And it's very, very sad. And when I say this, you're going to see what I'm going to share with you today. We'll start today by looking at the African Union. Okay? What Mr. Farrakhan says in this video is very, very pertinent. The African Union was created at the time we're calling it the Organization of African Unity. It was created by our forefathers, such as Haile Selassie and Kwame Nkrumah, to continue the process of decolonization. But is that what this organization is doing today? No. When we look at what the African Union is doing today, it doesn't even match the goals that were set for this organization, why it was created. It was created to serve as an African parliament, which will mirror the ideas and dreams of Africans, the ideas of unity, the idea of African interests. We've said on this show many times that countries have interests. Countries do not have friends. So, this week, when news reached us that Muammar Ghadafi is inviting Israel to become an observer status member of the African Union, so many of you were really raising questions. Say, why? 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 Is Israel a nation in Africa? Is Israel an African nation? So why is Israel involved in African affairs? If we have to determine our own destiny, why are we bringing Israel to be part of this, to listen? The Knesset in Israel, does the Knesset welcome African leaders to come and listen to what they discuss? I'm asking you. Sometimes Africans behave as if they are dumb. The Knesset will never allow an African leader to come and listen to their secrets. But here we go, we're letting Israel have observer status so that they can listen to whatever we're doing. Why is this happening? Sadly, we have Islamic countries in Africa. We should know the problem between Israel and the Palestinians. The problem of second-class citizenship for Palestinians. The problem of apartheid in the Middle East for Palestinians. We are really shocked to find out that most of these Muslim countries too have signed on to the project of allowing Israel to become an observer status member of the African Union. When you read most of the papers, Al Jazeera, the newspapers are shocked. What is happening? Why is Egypt condoning this? Egypt used to say they were the leader of the Arab world. When Muammar Ghadafi was there, Gaddafi made sure that Israel was not admitted into the African Union. So with the death of Gaddafi, things have changed because Gaddafi was sponsoring the African Union. So it shows you how most of these African countries are led by puppets, beggars. They cannot do anything for themselves. Because single-handedly, Muammar Ghadafi was financing the African Union, so he could succeed in keeping Israel at bay. But now that he's gone, most of these leaders are looking for handouts from Israel. So they welcome Israel to become their leader and dictate for them what should happen in the African Union. It is always good for nations to have good relationships with other nations. That's not what we're talking about here. We're talking about the African interests. Is it in the African interest for Israel to have observer status at the AU? I say no. Any Africans who think will agree with me and say no. So when Muammar Faki is a lawyer, but I don't really know the kind of lawyer he is. Last time, his name became a household word when he fired Dr. Arikana Chihumburi Kwe. It became big news because this guy has a very neocolonial way of thinking and acting. He is leading a Pan-African institution, but why does he not worry about African interests, for God's sake? This guy is a lawyer. What's wrong with him? Why is he so concerned about taking bribes from some of these nations and selling Africa short? So this is what really disappoints us again with this individual, Muammar Faki. It's a guy from Chad. And we're calling his name again because this is a pattern. He has a very neo-colonial streak and they keep him. So the youth of today, you have to start working to pressure your leaders to fire people like this because we don't need such people in Africa. They are the ones keeping Africa down. Okay? So Muammar Faki from Chad, that's the guy who is keeping the African Union down. So this organization is not meeting the needs of Africans. So we need to kick these people out. And when you guys are protesting, we support you. Protest. We don't need such neocolonial people. And this is why there's a lot of panic and pandemonium in the African nation today. Because most of these people, their time has come to go. Okay? So next, we have to move now to Ambazonia. You guys love when we talk about Ambazonia. Anytime when we don't talk about Ambazonia on this show, you feel bad. So we always talk about Ambazonia because we know most of you who watch our show come from Ambazonia and you like it when we talk about your country. So we've been giving you a forum to channel your ideas. The world now knows about your problems because for over 2 years now, we try to talk about your problems so that the whole world can know about it. And we've done a good job, we think. And we know you are appreciating us because you send comments. Sometimes you even call us and tell us that you are happy with the job we're doing. This week, I think what is really happening in Ambazonia basically is that the Ambazonian restoration forces are really flushing out the toy soldiers from La République du Cameroun. Already, when you go to the west region of the Francophone Cameroon nation, they are already feeling the impact. People did not really pay attention. Whenever we predict things on this show, people look at us like we are being prophetic. No, we just understand history and we understand conflict. We know the way things work in the real world. We understand geopolitics. So we put everything in a geopolitical context. So it's not like we have a crystal ball. We just understand the way things work out in the real world. This week, it looks like the ailing and dying Paul Biya president, who has been in Switzerland for ill health and the signing of oil contracts with companies like Perenco, a French multi-statal company, multinational company. He sent Betty Asomo to the West region to go and boost the confidence of the soldiers fighting in the area. Because most of the Ambazonian restoration forces have been making incursions into the west area of the country. Most of them from areas like Lebialem to Chang, they just penetrate and they start giving help to people who are around there. As a result, some of the farmers or even the workers on roads have been running away. They cannot really continue their development effort because the Ambazonia Restoration Forces have been making their presence felt in these areas. So we predicted this before. We said it is time for the government in Yaoundé, in a 2D, to rethink its strategy. The military option has failed. And we said this in black and white, and we said, please, change strategy. It was Albert Einstein who said, it's only an insane person continues doing the same thing and getting negative results, but it continues on the same path. So when you're getting failure, you should reassess your strategy. So we hope these people are going to make a new strategy, but it looks like they are not about to make a U-turn, because as we speak, we can show you pictures. You see the Lament. A lot of those Francophones are lamenting because, take for example at Bali, this weekend so many of the soldiers have lost their lives because of the ferocious attacks by the Ambazonian Restoration Forces. The pictures are so many. Sometimes we try to mask these pictures so that we don't show too much blood. But it's war. War is ugly. War is gory. Because of YouTube censorship, we try to mask these pictures and videos so that they don't show a lot of blood. But the truth about it is we're painting a true picture, which is sad. Francophones now are losing a lot of people. They're having a lot of funerals. Now the Ambazonia Restoration Forces have upped their game, so they know the best way to target these guys. So it's now like the hunter is being hunted by the prey. Okay? The prey is hunting the hunter. That's what is happening, and things are not pretty on the ground. So we really feel sad. And the king or the monarch is ailing and dying. From the intelligence we gathered, it looks like Mr. Biya has been sick. That's one of the reasons why he went to Switzerland, even though he did not want to. He went there because of ill health. We understand he had a blood clot in his brain. He has a heart disease. He has high blood pressure. He has diabetes. So this guy's body is just like a colony of so many diseases. So these are affecting him. So he cannot really function the way he used to function. When I look at Mr. Paul Biya, his last days remind me of the last days of Mobutu Sese Seko in Zaire. Okay? At the time, he was really feeble and weak. He didn't really have the power he had before. So people are doing things for him. And most of these messengers are not really good messengers. You have a lot of amber fools. The people who are from Ambazonia, but they are serving the interests of the French Cameroun neocolonial regime. You have so many of them, the Anglo fools. We have so many pictures of Anglo fools. You can see them. We don't want to call their names, but when you look at the pictures we're sharing with you on social media, you see the names of all those Anglophones who are serving this government either as blacklegs or informants or sycophants. So it's really sad. And we know the end is near. And so good cheer, Ambazonia Restoration Forces. You guys are really doing a great job, and we know that the international community will be forced to recognize you. Okay, then you have a lot of these pictures which we think you have to really digest. If you can digest them, then we'll ask ourselves, there's a picture and a video which we saw. The soldiers from La République were destroying cornfields in Bali. So is this a new strategy of war where you start using hunger, food as a weapon? So this is sad. We just want the world community to see what these people are doing. Sometimes they will blame civilians, that civilians are supporting Ambazonia Restoration Forces. It's because the civilians don't have a way out. They just have to choose who is a lesser evil. Okay? You look at pictures where they are really cutting down cornfields so the people have nothing to eat. Is this a good thing? We don't think so. As this continues, why are they doing all of this? It's because they want to please their neocolonial French masters and the owners of Perenco oil and gas, because that's where all the money from the country comes from. And the president of the country has sold the whole country to most of these French interests. So right now, this colonial fight is for the benefit of France, which is really why Most of these soldiers are fighting and dying. So we're saying that if you're a soldier, if you value your life, don't die for France, die for your country. If you're dying for France, it's a shame.
Hey, yo, Shape, I thought you was gonna take me to this place so I could get my taxes done. You know I'm trying to buy a new house. What's up?
Let's get it on. If you're searching for a house, call up my man Prince Ojong, the best in real estate. Take it from your guy Shape. When I say his services are the best in the states where it's born, he even take care of your tax forms, fat refunds. So come, get your business done. Consultations, financial organization, fast processing, no waiting. This man is amazing. The Prince.
Act now and call Prince Ojong at 240-350-1131. That's 240-350-1131.
From La République now, we have to go to the Central African Republic. The Central African Republic too has a whole lot of panic and pandemonium. Most of the NGOs, non-governmental organizations, are thinking about withdrawing their workers, especially Doctors Without Borders, because rebel forces and government forces are attacking them. Sometimes they go to hospitals where these people are working and attack them when they have nothing to do with the war. But it's just the ugly side of war. People look for imaginary enemies when they do not exist. Bozizé Francis, the former president, has his rebel forces. Then Faustin Touadéra, who is president, also has forces that are fighting the Bozizé's forces. So there's no peace, and we don't know how this would end. Next, we'll go to Mali. Mali has had two coups d'etats in a year, and a third one almost happened because Assimi Goïta, who is the new strongman of Mali, he was in a mass in the morning and he was almost stabbed with a knife. If not for the quick reaction of his bodyguards, the guy who was supposed to use the knife to slice the sheep for this feast was trying to come and stab him. But this action was prevented. We thank God we would have seen a third coup d'etat in Mali in a very short time. So why is this happening? It's because there are so many opposing forces. Mali has had two coups d'etats trying to create stability, but things are not really going well. So we really feel sad. Similarly to Mali, we move to Madagascar. Madagascar too is an island in Africa. Okay? You heard so much about Madagascar from our show when the COVID-19 pandemic was really wreaking havoc in the motherland, and Madagascar came up with a cure. So that put President Andry Rajoelina in the news. There was a coup d'etat attempted against him, and we hear some French subjects have been implicated in this coup d'etat. So we don't think this is really a good sign. Why is this happening? The French always have their hands in Africa, always looking for resources. So it's really sad. Africans have to wake up because the French can never really tire of spending time looking for resources in Africa. So probably Africans need to look for some way to really get rid of the French because the French are the most parasitic people you have on earth. So they don't want to leave. They don't want to leave Africa. So Africans have to do something about it. Next, we'll move to Nigeria. We've covered Nigeria a lot on this show, and we've talked to you about Sunday Igboho last time, and we talked about some of the stuff that he was doing for the Oduduwa nation. We explained everything in context. We told you last time that the government forces were trying to arrest him, but he decided not to turn himself in, so he left the country and found himself in Benin, the Republic of Benin, which is a neighboring country in Africa. Then he was even trying to leave Benin and cross over to Germany. But it looks like the Nigerian government has been playing some politics with the government of Benin. They did not want him to leave. And then they were making false claims that he was trying to travel with a false passport, which is owned by ECOWAS. But Benin and Nigeria Union, so they use the same passports. So this is just a lie told by the Nigerian government to make Sunday Igboho to look bad, okay? So we are just telling you that this is a government that is just planning to kill Sunday Igboho. And if they do this, it's going to create a whole lot of problems because Mr. Sunday has a lot of supporters, and his supporters are not going to take it kindly. But when people watch this show, they ask us, why is it that a lot of the Nigerian governors, then the big politicians like Tinubu, are not saying anything? Behind the scenes, they are telling Mr. Sunday to keep quiet and to stop making noise because they feel that he's trying to act as a spoiler. They want to take over power from Mr. Buhari, and they feel Mr. Sunday is just trying to mess them up. So if that's the case, they just need to make peace with him, and it's really sad because when this continues to happen, we feel it's not good for Africa. Then at the same time, Mr. Sunday has a lot of supporters. Even the Catholic bishops were really telling Mr. Buhari that his approach to justice is very selective. If he can go all over the way to Benin to look for Mr. Sunday, to look for Mr. Kanu, why is it that he cannot go and look for Boko Haram? This week, Boko Haram killed over like 6 soldiers in the northern part of Cameroon, close to Nigeria. But they all operate from within Nigeria. They leave Nigeria and work around that Lake Chad basin. Why is it that Mr. Buhari, who claims to be a great general, why is he not doing anything to arrest these guys? Sheku operated in the Sambisa forest until he was killed by one of the warring factions of Boko Haram. Why did Mr. Buhari not go and chase him? So the Catholic bishops are saying that Mr. Buhari is having a very selective approach to justice. Justice is supposed to be blind, which means it doesn't have any favors. Everybody is supposed to obey the law. But the way Mr. Buhari is administering justice, it looks like the justice is not for the northern kinsmen of Mr. Buhari. Justice is only for the southerners. And that's what is creating a whole lot of problems. And already, even the African Council is even thinking that Nigeria would end up breaking. As much as we don't want this to happen, but Nigeria is getting to the breakup point because things are just getting bad. Nigeria is really becoming a failed state, and things are really getting close to the edge. If we don't pull things back, the Nigerian nation will collapse completely into pieces. But if this happens, there are going to be so many ramifications in the region. Nigeria is a very big country, so it's just like when something happens in Nigeria, it's going to affect most of the other countries in West Africa, which is why it is very important to maintain peace, to change this government, because the government is weak and feeble. It looks like they cannot guarantee security for the people of Nigeria, which is the least thing a government should be able to do for its people. They cannot give them basic security. They are not sure they can live in peace. When they cannot do this, then what's the need for this government? Then it means the government is useless. So this is very, very sad. And we are really praying that something should happen because Mr. Buhari doesn't just know what to do. And it looks like probably before the next election, there may even be a coup d'etat in Nigeria, because the way we see, we read the tea leaves, things are not going well in this country. So many of the leaders are talking. And they are telling Mr. Buhari right in his face that no, things are not going well. He is trying to make excuses, but things are not going well. Don't be surprised if another coup d'etat takes place in Nigeria. Then that will set Nigeria back again, because for the last years, Mr. Buhari has really been running the country like a dictatorship. It's not even like a democracy. It doesn't allow the people to talk. Somebody like Sunday Igboho is an activist. Why can he not express himself? Why must he be arrested whenever he opens his mouth and speaks? So that's the sad part with Nigeria, and is a sad part in many other African countries, which is why we have panic and pandemonium in much of Africa today, because the people are looking for freedom, self-determination. They cannot get it, so they are clamoring for justice. They cannot find justice. They are looking for justice. They cannot find it, and they will continue making noise until they get what they are looking for. But at least, even though we are looking at South Africa, there have been a lot of issues with South Africa, but at least South Africa shows you that they can at least respect the rule of law. We respect the rule of law. The problems in Africa are happening because we do not have the rule of law. Most of the guys who see themselves in power, they start acting like dictators. Then they just do things to please foreign donors. They don't care about their people. But South Africa, at least during the government of Cyril Ramaphosa, someone corrected me on how to pronounce the name. So I used to say Ramaphosa. They said, no, it's Ramaphosa. So the H is silent. Thank you. I've learned from you guys how to pronounce the name Cyril Ramaphosa. So I pronounced the name well, right? So this week also, Jacob Zuma was allowed to get out of jail to attend to his family business. It looks like he lost a relative and they wanted him to go and condole with his family. So they left him, he went out of jail. So this was a really nice gesture. This is how a democracy should work. You allow the people to really express themselves, and we think we like what is happening in South Africa. I know sometimes South Africans have some excesses, but the way they have handled the Jacob Zuma affair is very good. I know some people went out and protested because Jacob Zuma was arrested, but they should understand that nobody should be above the law. That's the best way we can have an African country. If somebody is above the law, then we don't have a country. We need to have a country of laws where everybody is equal. And this is what will create peace and development in the country. Okay? We cannot have development when there's no stability. So we've come to the end of our show, and we thank you very much for watching this show. But we're asking you once again, subscribe. May God bless you. Thank you.
Is your EMR EHR COVID-19 ready? If not, you do not know what you are missing. Why do you suffer in silence? Be smart. Turn to Alexia HTC today. Alexia HTC is the leader in virtual solution and communication technology in these times of pandemic crisis. When the unexpected happens, who are you going to call? Alexia HTC. Come and see how Alexia HTC Cloud Communications are enabling your fellow healthcare providers to consult with patients virtually and making big money. Alexia HTC also enables your employees to work remotely during the COVID-19 crisis. Are your employees safe? Do not jeopardize the health and safety of your patients and practice. What can Alexia HTC do for you? Alexia HTC is the new Colossus, the sister of physicians, who gives you back liberty, that is, the freedom to practice medicine your way. Vivacious virtual visits wherever you please. Amazing e-prescribing. Quick access to patient information. Easy access to medical records from other providers. Rapid drug allergy checks. Integrated lab tests and results. Give me your tired, your poor, your huddled doctors yearning to breathe free. The wretched refuse of your greedy corporations. Send these, the homeless, tempest-tossed physicians, to me. I give them the refuge. The happy home of Alexia HTC. Act now. Browse alexiahtc.com or call 240-350-1131.
Medical practice software is too old. Indeed, all the programs are built on MUMPS, technology of the 1950s, and the programs cost too much money. Epic and Cerner cost billions of dollars. Meditech costs thousands of dollars too. In fact, that's why we created alexiahtc.com, a new and free EMR/EHR for doctors. alexiahtc.com is built for HIPAA. Yes, magical one-screen technology, ease of use, quick charting, amazing e-prescribing, tight labs integration, multi-office difference, because we believe doctors and patients need a break today. Be the first to test drive alexiahtc.com. You have nothing to lose. You have everything to gain. Act now. Call 240-350-1131. Alexia Care Corporation at alexiahtc.com.
Selling a service or a product? Need buyers? Use the African Nation TV as a channel to reach many viewers. Act now and call Prince Ojong at 240-350-1131. That's 240-350-1131. Act today.